Hi, I thought it's time for a quick update from my Scandinavia trip. I already managed to take some photos just like half an hour ago. So basically yesterday morning I left northern Sweden. One of the reasons was that the weather was getting a bit rainy over there. And I checked, and in the north, in Norway, the weather looked better. So I decided to drive. I drove until Finland over some dust roads, and as I progressed, the weather was getting better. In the evening, it was even getting sunny. I stopped a couple of times for taking some pictures of reindeer, and then finally I arrived in the evening in Finland. And I decided to just put my tent in a forest and basically go to bed and sleep, and then hopefully the next day manage to go to my destination, which is the Varanger Peninsula, and take some pictures here. Unfortunately, the weather was not exactly as it was predicted. It started to rain during the night, which now leaves me with the not ideal situation that I have a wet tent in my car. Of course, I tried to shake the tent a bit that it gets more or less dry. And I think it also managed to dry a bit more in the 2.5 hours that I was driving this morning. But it's still not perfect. So I actually decided to book an Airbnb. So I'm currently in Varanger already. I booked an Airbnb for the next night, and I still have like maybe 40 minutes to drive to the Airbnb. So I decided to take a quick stop because I was getting tired, and I discovered some shorebirds around here. And I want to show you some of the images I got and give you some tips for photographing them. So my number one rule for shorebirds, or also ducks, is basically to get low. And ideally on eye level, which for tiny shorebirds really means go to the ground, get dirty, get wet. There is one way to prevent this, and this is just to take like a small foldable mattress that you can put on the ground, and then something like a beanbag or skimmer ground pot where I can put the lens on. I was thinking about doing this here, but I decided not to, because in many areas here we have the Varangerfjord, which is connected to the sea, and at the moment there is low tide, so the shorebirds can look for food, which is amazing, but they have quite a wide range, and they can run from left to right, and if I'm completely stationary, I felt like I'm a bit too stuck in one place, and I prefer to move a little bit here. It's different in Switzerland, where sometimes the, let's say, interesting area where they can look for food is only this big, and you have the water, the land, and the interesting patch in between. Then I prefer to just go there with my mattress to stay dry. Here I didn't mind, I just went on my knees and I put the camera on a tiny rock and then used the tiltable screen basically to take pictures. It's a bit harder to find the birds like that, but it allowed me not to get wet completely because I still want to drive afterwards. And I got some first pictures, but I was not 100% happy with the results because at the moment it's a bit overcast, which is nice in the sense that if it would be direct sunlight, it would be too harsh because it's like 12:30 or something. So the sun is basically at its highest point. But the problem with shorebirds is they tend to stick close to the water, and I like to have the water in the background, but not if it's an overcast day, because then the water often doesn't look blue, but rather a bit grayish. And this grayish water just doesn't look so cool in my opinion. It's also rather bright, so rather distracting. Also the sand from the beach doesn't look so cool. So what I'm doing now is I walk a bit around here. I'm trying to take some flight shots because this works quite well with the overcast weather. And as you can maybe see, the sun is also starting to push through a bit more. And then I will come back hopefully a bit later when I hope that we get some more interesting light and more interesting colors. Maybe you have noticed that I have a small pouch here. This is from Nya Evo, or however the brand is pronounced. And I find this quite handy because here I can have the important things that I need. So there's a microfiber cloth in it. I have my tele extender that I have at the moment not attached to the 600, but before I was. And I have some spare batteries. So I always have this with me, or I try to always have it with me, because sometimes I prefer to not drag the backpack along, and then I'm happy if I have the most important stuff in case I need some other tools. So I checked in at the Airbnb before, I hung my wet tent for drying, took a small break, and now decided to go out again to hopefully take some more bird pictures. Unfortunately, the weather has not really improved. It's getting a bit hazy, and this means that I cannot shoot well on long distances because I lose contrast, colors and sharpness. So I need to do something with birds that are a bit closer to me. And I'm here at a kittiwake colony, and they are breeding just over there. It's quite crazy. I'm still on the official path, so the camera is actually just on a bench that is here for visitors because I have my tripod in the car. And I wanted to take some flight shots, but it's not so easy because the best opportunities for flight shots you have against this side here, but the water and the sky, they don't give a nice background at the moment. This will be whitish or grayish colors, so I don't like that so much. So I need to focus a bit more when they are either landing to the cliffs or starting off of the cliffs. It's not very easy. What I was doing now to start with was just to take some pictures of the birds that are sitting in the cliffs, sitting in the colony, because there are some nice flowers around, and I kind of wanted to include these flowers a bit into the pictures. I've been to this place more than 5 years ago, but there I was in March. So it was quite a different environment with a lot of snow, and I took some pictures with the snow. And now I kind of want to emphasize this summer feeling with the flowers. So I will try that. The 600mm f4 should work quite well for that. I'm not sure if I need to use a tele-extender yet, but for the flight shots, I'm thinking about maybe taking the RF100 to 300. It's just easier to handle for action shots, and I'm not so at risk to clip the wings of the birds. So I will give it a try now.